I'm Amber. Sitting in my car, I clutch the folder of letters my father left me. It's been a while since the dramatic scene at the lawyer's office, yet the shock still lingers. I can't help but replay that moment when my brother, Ethan, fainted right in front of us. 2 weeks ago, we were in my father's lawyer, Mr. Thompson's office. Ethan sat across from me, looking as confident as ever in his designer suit, already envisioning his windfall. He brought his own lawyer, a shrewd man from downtown who specialized in estate law. Mr. Thompson adjusted his glasses and said, "Before we begin, I need to address some irregularities." Ethan's lawyer leaned forward. "If you're referring to the timing of the will's execution, my client has an affidavit confirming Mr. Anderson was of sound mind." Mr. Thompson interrupted, "No, I'm referring to this." He pulled out a thick folder. "The will Mr. Ethan Anderson filed with the court last week." Ethan said smoothly, "Yes, Dad's final wishes." He realized I was better suited to manage the family assets. Mr. Thompson's poker face was well known, but I caught a glimmer in his eye. According to state law, a will executed under suspicious circumstances, such as an increased morphine dosage not prescribed by the attending physician, can be contested. Ethan shifted slightly. "There's no proof of any irregularities." But Mr. Thompson had more to say. He pulled out another document. The hospice nurse filed a report. The attending physician confirmed the patient's morphine levels were dangerously high. And then he slid a paper across the table. "The notary, Mrs. Jenkins, has provided a sworn statement that she felt pressured to proceed despite concerns about Mr. Anderson's capacity." Ethan's lawyer started to object, but Mr. Thompson wasn't finished. "However, that's not why we're here today. We're here because of this." He pulled out an older document with my father's shaky but clear signature. "A will executed 5 months ago, properly witnessed during a documented period of lucidity and filed with this office the same day." Ethan went white as a sheet. "That's impossible. Dad never mentioned it." Mr. Thompson opened the will. "Mr. Anderson came to me after his diagnosis. He was quite clear about his wishes and his concerns. Shall I read the relevant passages?" Ethan's hands gripped the armrests of his chair. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. "To my son Ethan, whose ambition has always exceeded his ethics, I leave the sum of $1 and a piece of advice. Money obtained through deception is worth less than money earned through honor." The room fell silent. "The remainder of my estate, including the family home, all investment accounts and personal belongings, I leave to my daughter Amber, who has shown me that wealth is measured not in dollars, but in presence, not in portfolios, but in patience." She spent her evenings reading to a dying man, while others calculated their inheritance. Ethan's face turned red. "This is fake, Amber must have." Mr. Thompson continued, "I am aware that Ethan may attempt to contest this will or manipulate me into changing it as my condition worsens. Therefore, I am also establishing an educational trust with $500,000 to be managed by Amber specifically for providing resources to underfunded schools. This trust is irrevocable and protected from any claims by Ethan or his descendants." He then turned his computer screen toward us. "There's a video component as well. Would you like to see it?" Ethan's mouth opened and closed like a fish. On the screen, my father appeared, thin but alert, sitting in this very office 5 months ago. His voice was clear and firm. "If you're watching this, it means Ethan tried to change my will when I was too sick to resist. Son, I've known about your debts, your gambling, your lies to investors about having capital from the family trust. I've watched you become someone I don't recognize, someone who would exploit his dying father for money. Amber, sweetheart, I'm sorry you have to deal with this. The house is yours. Fill it with the laughter of the students you love so much. And Ethan, I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't mean enabling. Get help, son, before you lose more than money. The video ended, and Ethan sat frozen, staring at the blank screen. Mr. Thompson said, "This is interesting," and his tone made everyone look up. Because filing a fraudulent will is a felony. Attempting to unduly influence a dying person is elder abuse. And increasing someone's morphine dose without authorization. He let the implications hang in the air. That's when Ethan fainted. As his lawyer rushed to help him, Mr. Thompson quietly slid another folder to me. Your father also left you these personal letters, some photos, and information about Ethan's debts. He wanted you to understand why he did what he did. Ethan came around slowly. His lawyer was already whispering about contesting, about my father's mental state, and about undue influence from me. Mr. Thompson said mildly, I wouldn't. We have the video, the medical records showing Mr. Anderson's clarity that day, and 3 witnesses besides myself. Plus, any contest would require explaining the midnight signing and the morphine incident. The district attorney is already interested in that situation. Ethan looked at me for the first time in years. You turned him against me. I said quietly, no, you did that yourself. Every missed visit, every excuse, every time you called him asking for money but never asking how he was. I didn't poison him against you, Ethan. I just showed up. He said, his voice cracking, I needed that money. You don't understand. I owe people, dangerous people. I replied, then you should have been honest with Dad. He would have helped you. He always helped you. Ethan left with his lawyer, threats of litigation trailing behind them. But we all knew it was over. He'd overplayed his hand, literally drugged our father for a signature and found out that Dad had been 3 steps ahead the whole time. Mr. Thompson walked me to my car afterward. Your father was a smart man. He knew Ethan would try something when he got desperate enough. That's why he came to me early, set everything up properly. I asked, why didn't he just tell Ethan the truth? That he'd already changed the will. Mr. Thompson said, because he hoped Ethan would surprise him. Would choose love over money at the end. When Ethan didn't visit for that last month, your father knew. But he still hoped. And the video, it was his idea. He said Ethan would need to see it to believe it. And he wanted to tell him he loved him one more time, even if Ethan wouldn't hear it until after. Let me rewind a bit. My father, a successful businessman, had been diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. Despite his illness, he remained positive and spent a lot of time with me. I'm a teacher, and I visited him every day at the hospice, holding his hand, reading him the detective novels he loved. One Tuesday at 3 a.m. I received a call from my father's hospice nurse. Her voice was gentle but urgent. Amber, your father is asking for you. I think you should come now. I threw on yesterday's clothes and drove through the empty streets, my hands shaking on the wheel. When I arrived at the house, Ethan's Mercedes was already in the driveway. It was strange because he'd been too busy to visit for the past month, claiming work commitments at his real estate firm. I found them in my father's study. Dad was propped up in his wheelchair, barely conscious, while Ethan held documents in front of him. A woman I didn't recognize sat at my father's desk with a notary stamp. I burst through the door and shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" Ethan didn't even flinch. Dad wanted to make some changes to his estate planning. Last-minute clarity, you know how it is. At 3 o'clock in the morning, while Dad could barely open his eyes. Dad's head lolled toward my voice. Amber, his voice was weak. I'm here, Dad. I rushed to his side and noticed his hand trembling as Ethan guided it toward a signature line. Just sign here, Dad, Ethan said smoothly. Remember what we discussed about how Amber doesn't need the money since she's just a teacher. How I can better manage the family assets. I grabbed the papers. He's on morphine. He doesn't even know what year it is. Ethan yanked them back. He was lucid when we started. Right, Mrs. Jenkins? The notary shifted uncomfortably. He seemed aware when I arrived. I looked at the documents. It was a new will dated today, leaving everything to Ethan, the house, the investments, Mom's jewelry, even the small education fund Dad had promised to my classroom. There was a single line for me: to my daughter Amber, I leave my love and best wishes, knowing she values sentiment over material wealth. I accused Ethan, you wrote this. That's not how Dad talks. He replied, people get formal when dealing with legal matters. Then he turned back to Dad. One more signature, Dad. The power of attorney. That's when I saw it. Dad wasn't just tired. His pupils were pinpoints, his breathing too shallow. I'd spent enough time there to know his normal morphine response. You increased his dose, I whispered. You drugged him. Ethan's hand moved to his pocket, and I could see the outline of a medication bottle. I screamed, Nurse. Nurse Linda, Dad's night nurse, came running. She took one look at Dad and went pale. His medication log says he just had a dose an hour ago. He shouldn't need it. She checked his vitals. We need to call the doctor now. In the chaos that followed, with the doctor arriving, Dad being stabilized, and forms being filled out about the medication error, Ethan managed to slip away with his documents. The notary followed, looking deeply uncomfortable. Dad passed away 6 days later. He never fully regained consciousness, but he held my hand until the end. I whispered that I loved him, that the money didn't matter, that being his daughter was worth more than any inheritance. Ethan didn't come back to the hospice. He was too busy filing the new will with the probate court. The funeral was a blur. Ethan played the grieving son perfectly, even gave a touching eulogy about Dad's business acumen and how he'd promised to carry on the family legacy. He avoided my eyes the entire time. Now, months have passed. Ethan declared bankruptcy 6 months later and moved to Florida to start over. We don't talk, but I hear things through cousins. He's working as a property manager, living quietly, maybe finally learning what Dad tried to teach him about earning versus taking. The house is mine now, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like what it is, a father's last attempt to protect one child while hoping to save another. I turned the big formal dining room into a library for my students, filled with the books Dad loved. They come after school for tutoring and homework help. Their laughter fills the spaces where Ethan and I once played. The Educational Trust has supplied 10 schools with new technology. Every computer has a small plaque donated by the Anderson Family Trust. Wealth measured in wisdom. I kept the pen Ethan had tried to make Dad sign with. It sits on my desk at school, a reminder that inheritance isn't about what you're given. It's about what you choose to do when someone you love is at their most vulnerable. Dad knew Ethan would come for the money. He knew I'd come to say goodbye. In the end, we both got exactly what we deserved.